Morning children, stay at home, stay safe, stay healthy. Now in the last lesson, while teaching you the dielectric constant, I forgot to mention one thing, that as you know, dielectric constant, it is the ratio of electric permittivity of the medium to the electric permittivity of free space. Alright. Now as it is the ratio of electric permittivity of the medium and the free space, that's why K has no dimension. It is a very important concept. Is that clear? K has no dimension and no unit. Alright. Important topic, frequently asked question. Okay. So you must remember that. Now I am coming to the next concept, that is concept of electric field. Already you have got it in 9th standard. What is electric field? The space surrounding a point charge where the electrostatic force exerted by the point charge is experienced is called the electric field. Alright? Means what? Suppose you have kept one point charge here. Suppose the point charge is Q0. And now surrounding the point charge, the space where the electrostatic force exerted by this point charge will be felt is known as the electric field. Alright. Now, we associate. So, what is the definition of the electric field? That if you want, you can note it down or you just learn the definition. Alright. The space surrounding a point charge where the electrostatic force exerted by a point charge is felt is known as the electric field. Now, we associate one term with the concept of electric field, that is electric field intensity. Alright. Now, electric field intensity of a point inside the electric field. Is that clear? So, you see here electric field intensity is nothing but the characteristics of that particular point. Alright. So, if you consider you have kept a charge, point charge Q0 at the point O. So, electric field is generated surrounding the point charge. Now, what is the electric field intensity at the point P? So, electric field intensity we denote it by E. Electric field intensity at a point, we define it as the force experienced by a unit positive charge kept at that point is the measure of electric field intensity of that point. Alright, I repeat, what is electric field intensity of a point? That is the force experienced by whom? A unit positive charge kept at that point. Is that clear? So, suppose I have kept a point charge Q here. Alright. So, you see, and let us consider that the Q charge is experiencing a force F. Clear? So, what will be the charge experienced by a unit positive charge? It is just unitary method. Q charge experiencing a force F. So, unit charge will experience a force F by Q. So, this is the relation for electric field intensity. Sometimes we use it as this also. F is equal to Q into E. If you want to write in vector form, then give the vector sign above. Is that clear? Now you see, according to this relation, what are you getting? You know, if you apply Coulomb's law, let us consider that this point P is at a distance R. Then what will be F? F will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q naught divided by R square. Isn't it? I hope you can remember Coulomb's law. This is F into 1 by Q. So you see Q get cancelled. So what are you getting? That E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square. This is another relation. These are the relations you are supposed to remember for solving the numericals in this chapter. Board exam numericals are formula based, easy numericals. So you must learn these two equations. Alright. So this is what electric field intensity at a point P which is at a distance R and the field is created by Q naught. Clear? So understand it. What is the expression for electric field intensity? It is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Then this is Q naught. It is called as source charge. Source means the source of electric field. Is that clear? So here you see what you are getting, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught source charge divided by square of the distance of the point where you are calculating the electric field intensity. I hope the concept is clear. Very, very important concept. Is that clear? So this is the relation you should remember. So just you consider, suppose I have kept one charge Q1. Suppose as for example I am saying Q1 charge I have kept here, and I want to find out what is the electric field intensity at the point P at a distance x. Then what will be the expression for electric field intensity? It will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 divided by x square. Alright, Q1 is the source charge and x is the distance of the point where you are finding the electric field intensity. Is that clear? So this is the way you can calculate electric field intensity at a point due to a source charge Q naught. Next is, what is the dimension of electric field intensity? Now you know we define electric field intensity F by Q. So what is the dimension of F? ml T to the power minus 2. What is the dimension of electric charge? A into T. Alright. So you see what are you getting? It is ml A to the power minus 1 T to the power minus 3. This is the dimension of electric field intensity. Then another point is that now this concept also you have to use in solving the numericals in this chapter. So understand it. Suppose you have two equally and oppositely charged plates kept at certain distance. Alright. Then within the plate electric field intensity will be produced which is uniform. Electric field intensity within two oppositely charged plate is always uniform. Is that clear? Now, in the definition of electric field intensity, we said it is the force experienced by unit positive charge. Alright. So, it will help you to find out what is the direction of the electric field intensity. So, here within this, you just see here, this is plus, this is minus. Is that clear? So, electric field intensity will act in the downward direction. Is that clear? Now, suppose you have taken the means two parallel plates like this. This is positive, this is negative. Alright. Then you see in which direction electric field intensity will act? It will act from positive to negative. Why it is from positive to negative? Because it is the force experienced by unit positive charge. So positive charge will be repelled by the plus plate and positive charge will be attracted by the negative plate. Is that clear? So you see, if you consider a charged particle here, what will happen? It will experience a force given by Q into E. Is that clear? Now consider this case. Suppose you have a charged oil drop. This is actually known as Millikan's oil drop experiment. Means you are having one oil drop which is charged. Is that clear? So let us consider the charge present in the oil drop is Q. Is that clear? So you see this oil drop, it is experiencing the electrostatic force in the upward direction. Alright? And the weight of the drop mg, it is acting in the downward direction. Is that clear? Now, if you can adjust the amount of charge present in the oil drop, the mass of the oil drop and the electric field intensity between the two charge plates in such a manner that the weight of the oil drop becomes equal to the force experienced by the oil drop, then what will happen? The oil drop, it will just suspend in air. It will be in equilibrium. Is that clear? Why it will be in equilibrium? Because you see the upward electrostatic force, it is equal to the weight of the oil drop. Is that clear? So in this case, what you can write, F is equal to QE equal to mg. This is another important relation you are supposed to learn, remember, retain to solve the numericals, and important for your board exam. Alright, so you must learn and remember it. So you may get the numericals like this. In some numericals you may have to calculate Q, in some numericals you may have to calculate E, in some numericals you have to calculate M, where the other quantities present here will be given to you. Is that clear? So remember, when we apply this relation, when a charged oil drop or maybe any liquid drop, charged liquid drop is in equilibrium inside two equally and oppositely charged plate, or I may say that the charged oil drop or charged liquid drop is within a uniform electric field. Alright, then when the charge drop is in equilibrium, means not moving, at rest, then we can apply this formula and we can solve the numericals on it. Next is electric field intensity due to a point charge. Alright, so here you see I have kept one point charge Q naught at the point A, which is known as the source charge, and we want to find out what is the electric field intensity at the point B due to the point charge. So you are supposed to keep here at the point B a unit positive charge. Alright, means you have to keep plus 1 coulomb charge. Alright, now it may not be possible to always get a unit positive charge. So what we do generally, we keep any charge Q. This is known as the test charge. Is that clear? So you see, what is the force experienced by the test charge placed at this point? It will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q divided by R square. Is that clear? Now, if you consider that this is the direction of the unit vector R, then you see what will be the vector form. It will be into unit vector R. Here just see, I have given you what is the direction of the unit vector R, because you see here Q is repelled by Q naught. So the direction is in this direction. Clear? So you see F is given by this direction. So what will be the electric field intensity at that point? Already we know that it is here it is Q into Q naught. F divided by Q. So what are you getting then? You are getting 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q naught divided by R square into unit vector R. Unit vector R is giving you the direction of the electric field intensity. And according to Coulomb's law, what will be the direction of the electric field intensity along the line joining the two charges? And if the source charge is positive, away from the charge. If the source charge is negative, towards the charge. Here another very important point I prefer to mention, that suppose the charge is negative, then in the expression of the force and in the expression of the electric field intensity, you should not use the magnitude. While writing the magnitude of the charge, you should not use the sign. Is that clear? Because if the charge is negative, then automatically what will happen? Direction of the force will change. Is that clear? In that case, what will happen? If you consider this as minus Q0, then what will be the direction of the unit vector R? It will be towards Q0. Is that clear? So you see, when you are changing the sign, automatically the direction of the force and direction of the electric field intensity will change. So in the expression of the force and electric field intensity, you should not use the sign of the charges while substituting their magnitude. Is that clear? So you see, what is the expression for the electric field intensity due to a point charge? It is E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, the source charge divided by R square into unit vector R. Don't forget to show in the diagram the direction of the unit vector properly. Next topic is superposition principle. 11th standard also you have studied in the wave chapter, and in the other chapters exactly the same. Here we will use the superposition field principle for electrostatic force and electric field intensity. Alright. So just consider this one. Suppose you are having a discrete charge distribution. Discrete charge distribution, what is the meaning? That there is a gap between the successive charges. Alright. So that is known as discrete, D-I-S-C-R-E-T-E, discrete distribution of charges. So suppose there are n number of charges present in the charge system. Alright. And you want to find out what is the electric field intensity at the point P, or the force experienced by a charge Q kept at the point P due to this distribution of charge. In that case, what we use? We use the superposition principle. What is the superposition principle? That what will be the total force experienced at a point by a charge, it will be the vector sum of the forces experienced by the charge due to individual charges present in the system. Is that clear? Means you can write down it in this way. What is the force experienced by a charge Q kept at the point P? It will be force due to charge 1 Q1 plus force due to charge 2, then force due to charge 3, so on. Is that clear? Exactly in the same manner, instead of the force, want to find out what is the electric field intensity at the point P, then it will be electric field intensity at the point P, better to write like this, due to charge Q1, then EP2. EP2 means what? Electric field intensity at the point P due to charge Q2, then electric field intensity at the point P due to charge Q3, so on. Is that clear? Then what will happen? That you just individually find out what is their distances, find out the individual force, find out the electric field intensity, and then you find out the vector sum. Is that clear? So this is the way we use the superposition principle to find out the electric field or the electric force due to several. Next is, instead of a discrete charge distribution, if you are having a continuous charge distribution, in that case, how we find out the electric field intensity? So suppose the first case, this is this one, that suppose we are having the charges distributed continuously over a line. Alright, this is known as line distribution. Clear? Means at each and every point of the line, the charges are present. Clear? And you have to find out what is the electric field intensity at the point P due to all the charges. Clear? In this case, what we do? We first define one quantity, that is lambda, that is known as the linear charge density. Alright, what is linear charge density? Charge per unit length. Is that clear? Q is the total charge present in the entire line. L is the entire distribution. So you can write Q by L. If you write in terms of calculus, then suppose I have taken a small length element dl. I have chosen a small length element dl over the charge, over the distribution, and let us consider within dl, dq amount of charge is present. So what is linear charge density? Charge per unit length. So you see it will be dq dl. Clear to everybody? So you can write what is dq, the charge present here in dl. You can write it down, lambda into dl. This is the first concept. Clear? Now let us consider that this charge element chosen, the length element chosen, it is at a distance r from the point of observation where you have to find out the electric field intensity. So you see, for this small charge dq, what will be the electric field dE here? It will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught dq by r square. Yes or not? Now, what is dq? dq is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught lambda dl divided by r square. Clear? So, what will be the total electric field? You have to apply the concept of calculus. So, what will be the total electric field? Integration GE. So, integration GE means it will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught lambda dl divided by r square. Is that clear? So, this is the expression for the electric field due to a distribution, line distribution of charge. Is that clear? Now, instead of a line distribution, suppose you have taken a distribution of charge which is distributed over a surface. Alright, means it is a surface distribution of charge. And you want to find out again what is the electric field intensity at the point P. So, here when it is linear charge distribution, then we have defined one term linear charge density as charge per unit length. So, I hope you have common sense. In this case, what we define a quantity which we denote by sigma, and sigma is a Greek letter, everybody knows, which we denote by sigma, and sigma we say as surface charge density. So, if you have common sense, easily you can guess what will be the surface charge density. It will be charge per unit area, isn't it? Surface we define, surface has two dimensions. So, surface we define as charge per unit area. Is that clear? So, you see, one can write surface charge density as Q by S, or if I consider I have taken a small area, chosen a small area ds within the this one surface charge means surface charge we have taken, surface charge distribution we have taken, and we are considering dq be the amount of charge present in it. So, how you can write down sigma? Sigma will be dq by ds. So, you see dq will be how much? Sigma into ds. Is that clear? So, you see this is the advantage of being a teacher. What you can write then? dE here. dE again you will consider that suppose dq is at a distance of r from the point P. So, electric field intensity dE due to the charge dq within this small area chosen, it will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught dq by r square. Now, in this case instead of dq, what you will write is here in this case for surface charge distribution, in place of dq you will write down sigma ds. Is that clear? So, you see here what will be the total electric field? It will be sigma ds it will be sigma ds divided by r square. Clear? No? Everybody has understood? So, one thing you have to change here, that instead of lambda dl, you have to write sigma ds. Rest of the quantity will remain same when it is surface charge density instead of linear charge density. Then, the next case is that you can guess what it will be. After line, it has come surface. Then what it will come? Volume. So, volume charge density or volume distribution. Charge is distributed over a volume. So, let us consider that charge is distributed within this volume. Clear? In that case, what we do, that we just instead of defining surface charge density, guess what you will write here? These are all common sense. Okay, so instead of surface charge density, what you will define? You will define the volume charge density, isn't it? And volume charge density, we define it, we just, sorry, not define, denote it by the Greek letter rho. Is that clear? So, rho is the volume charge density, and what will be volume charge density? Charge per unit volume. So, in this case, what you will do? You just choose a small volume dV within the entire volume distribution. This is also known as space distribution, because you know space has 3 dimensions. And we have taken another point P outside the distribution, and let us consider it is at a distance r from the point of observation taken. So, you see here how you can find out volume charge density. Volume charge density is charge per unit volume, so it will be dq by dv. If I consider this small volume element dv is having dq amount of charge, then rho you can write it as dq dv. So what is dq? dq is rho dv. Clear? So again in the same manner, if you apply the concept of the electric field intensity, what will be the electric field intensity at the point P due to charge dq? This is dE is the electric field intensity due to charge dq, not due to the entire distribution. So what it will become? It will become rho dV. Is that clear? So here you see what will be the total electric field intensity. Then total electric field intensity means you have to integrate dE, isn't it? So it will be integration dE and it will become integration 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught rho dV by r square. Clear to everybody? Now this superposition principle and this expression for the electric field intensity due to the line distribution, surface distribution and volumetric distribution, that you just try to have the concept and you don't have to bother too much for your board exam, because this topic is not important for your board exam. Next concept is concept of electric lines of forces. In details you studied in 9th standard, so I am just repeating, we are retaining the same knowledge. Alright, what is electric lines of force? The imaginary path followed by a unit positive charge in an electric field is known as electric lines of force. What is electric lines of force? I repeat, the imaginary path followed by a unit positive charge in an electric field is known as electric lines of force. So from this definition, that if you consider that this is the electric lines of force, this is the path followed by whom? Unit positive charge. So you see it should have a direction of motion along one path. So for every electric lines of force you have to give one arrow. Clear? Now what are the characteristics of electric lines of force? These are also not at all a new topic for you, already studied, so that's why I am just discussing it fast. Clear? Always electric lines of force, it originates from a positive charge and it ends at the negative charge. Means suppose you are having a plus q charge here, you are having a minus q charge here. So what will happen if you just leave here one unit positive charge? It will move from positive to negative. Is that clear? And it will move from positive to negative following these different paths. Clear? So these are the electric lines of force. Clear? So electric lines of force is always away from the positive charge and towards the negative charge. Clear to everyone? Then next, very important characteristics of electric lines of force. A tangent drawn at a point of the electric lines of force gives the direction of electric field intensity at a point. Means what? Suppose there is an electric lines of force and you have taken one point A over it. What is the direction of electric field intensity at that point? That is the tangent, along the tangent drawn at that point. So the tangent drawn at any point of an electric lines of force gives the direction of electric field intensity at that point. Alright, then next important point, it is just associated with the point, second point just now I discussed, that no two electric lines of force can intersect each other. Alright, why they cannot intersect each other? Because if they intersect each other, then at the point of intersection, one can draw two tangent. Is that clear? So you see, these two tangents will give you two directions of electric field intensity at the point A. Alright, but at one point, the direction of electric field intensity is only one. Clear? So it is not possible. So electric lines of forces never intersect each other. Then what is the next important point? If you consider an uniform electric field. Uniform electric field means what? Uniform term is constant. Means electric field is constant. Then how we represent the constant electric field or uniform electric field? By equidistant parallel lines. Alright, you see here all the lines, they are parallel and they are equidistant from each other, and the arrows are given. So, you may get one more question on it. This is an important topic, that draw the electric lines of force for uniform electric field. Then you should draw it, or you may get the question like this, that in one place electric lines of forces are parallel to each other. What does it represent? It represents that electric field is uniform at that point. Is that clear? Then next point is, if at any point electric field lines are crowded, it means that electric field intensity is more. Electric field intensity is stronger at that region. And at any region, if the electric lines of forces are away from each other, is that clear? In that case, what conclusion you can draw? That electric field intensity is weaker in that region. Clear to everybody? So these are the characteristics of the main characteristics of the electric lines of forces.